It's the merger that just keeps on giving. This is actually, I make light of it, but it is actually a pretty bad situation for a lot of people. They're not getting jobs in comics. This is also just something that naturally has to happen when businesses are adapting. So yeah, the fact that Oni and Lionforge are adapting, I think is a good thing. I don't even know what their numbers look like. I have no idea what is a good thing, what is not a good thing. But I do know whenever you get canned, it certainly doesn't go well. Nobody has good feelings about that, essentially. Okay, so I'm looking at this this article here, Bleeding Cool. So yeah, they reported last week there was the merger, and then soon after there were layoffs, and now they have added that there were non-disclosure agreements involved. And so here's the first one, and this is from Bisexual Lightning and Murder. Wow, unionized comics. I don't know about that. Okay, so first, here we go. Today was the last day to decide if we were going to sell our souls for a pittance and a non-disclosure agreement or non-compete clause from our former employer. We decided we've done enough of that in our time and many lives. Every day for 2 years have felt like an ethical quandary. No more non-disclosure agreements in return for a severance. I think I'd probably take that. Non-compete clause, depending. I mean, again, I'm no lawyer. How many times do I have to say that on this channel? I'm no lawyer, but non-compete clauses can mean different things. Sometimes they mean you can't you can't compete or work for another company doing the same thing for like a period of time. So it could be 3 months, 6 months. I remember that because of the whole Conan O'Brien debacle, late night TV, Jay Leno, same kind of thing went on there, and I think it was 6 months for him. Or you could have non-compete clauses that just say you can't do certain kinds of products for other people, or I guess maybe you can't compete at all. That seems really strange if you work in comics to sign something that says you can never work in comics again. I would have to see it. Have not seen it though. They only have one clip of it here, and it's not a helpful clip. So I'm going to keep looking because that's interesting. Okay, so additionally, Wilson said that the former employees were offered severance in exchange for non-compete clauses. Yeah, here we go. Not for me, but I've heard that some people did have a non-compete. Now, hearing that some people had a non-compete and actually people having a non-compete clause are two different things. I have not actually seen evidence for this, so bear that in mind. They said mine and Scott's were not non-disparagement, which is telling. How is it telling? Non-disparagement. Nobody's happy to get fired. I could see, I don't know, non-disparagement. It depends on what they did to me. If it was just being fired, but through merger, would I do that for money? Probably. Yeah, I'd take the money just to not disparage. I don't know. Unless there's something you really need to whistleblow on. I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet. Some people for whom the non-compete clause would be devastated. Would devastate? Yeah. Clause would devastate. Wow, I'm having a hard time reading here. Yeah, it depends on what that non-compete clause actually says. I don't think they're all created the same. I have a hard time believing that they would ask you never to work in comics again. That seems absurd. You'd have to be really bad at your job for your employer to fire you and say, you're not only fired, but you can never work in comics again. Okay, and then I guess here's some clarification. There's so much rolling around in my head. Evil Sharky and I have a non-disclosure agreement and non-disparagement clauses. Some others have reported non-competes that would be devastating. Okay, and then that is it entirely. Not a permanent discussion about those uncovers that you have something they want you to keep to yourself, and I have a strong enough non-comics background to not care if I'm blacklisted. But so where's the nugget though? What would exactly get you blacklisted? I want to know what the nugget, like where's the whistleblow? Where's the beef? Where is the beef? That's what I need to know. If it's just that you got laid off, I'm not sure that there's a lot there. I probably would have just taken the money. If there's something that you got to whistleblow on, then do tell. I really want to know what it is. Let's see. Non-disclosure agreements are never not ridiculous. Wow. So they're always ridiculous? Non-disclosure agreements? I don't know. What if you know the secret sauce recipe? What if you knew the recipe to Kentucky Fried Chicken? What if you were that guy and you got fired? I'm pretty sure they'd have you sign a non-disclosure agreement because that's a secret that has to be kept, right? I would imagine. Okay, so this one's good. Again, more angry people. This is Evil Sharky this time. Angry to be laid off. And apparently, so a week ago today, they told me my position had been eliminated. Sometimes they do that at my work. They eliminate positions. They gave me a check for work already done and an insulting fraction of my accumulated paid time off. They didn't even pay me for the day I came in and to get sacked. Wow. Okay. I wonder how that day went. Show up and get fired. In addition, they gave me a contract that included a severance in quotation marks contingent on me keeping my mouth shut. Note, I was making peanuts there. And that's not anywhere near the 2 months pay the contract itself promises in the same sentence. Okay. Peanuts is no joke too. Look at this section. This represents 2 months of work. $1,248 for 2 months of work. Wow. I knew working in comics can be rough, but I feel a lot better about myself. I think I've already made more money than that. That's bad. I realize that sounds like it's part-time, but still, that's pretty bad. However, if you're working part-time and you're getting paid time off, that also seems surprising to me, but I guess when you're getting paid that little, does it really matter? Let's be honest. When I started, I was told that I might be eligible for a raise contingent on a positive employee review. After about 3 months, more than a year later, then that review never happened, no matter how many times they were reminded. No employee review happened. So there definitely wasn't a positive employee review. There also wasn't a negative one, but there was no employee review whatsoever. Okay. Meanwhile, in the weeks leading up to this cluster bomb, I've been told that following the merger, they might have the budget to take me on full time. In retrospect, that seems more than a little bit manipulative. What if they believed that they were going to take you on full time? I don't know. Maybe they were just leading you on. Is that the insinuation here? I don't know. I probably would have taken the severance though, if that's the beef. I just want to know, where is it? Where's the whistleblowing? So imagine my other lack of surprise when I learned that they just created a full-time warehouse assistant position. So they created a full-time job. It was offered to somebody else. No word whether that person worked there before, and within the merger, someone is kept on and someone is let go. I don't know. Okay, I am confident in saying my performance there was exemplary. I was the only person in the entire department prior to the warehouse experience, or even passing health and safety regulations. He did say that, killing, like pest control or something. Yeah, pest control was never in my job description. Okay, there's another thing. Okay. So none of these so far have been terrible things. I mean, if you're in a warehouse and there were mice there or rats or, I don't know, cockroaches, it's not a restaurant, I guess. I'm just not seeing where's the whistleblowing, where is it at? Yeah, I've got a lot more to say, particularly how they sacked basically everyone in the company with a disability accommodation. I'll tell you, disability accommodations are something that I actually know a little bit about, and I may be understating that a little bit, but people have a right to privacy, so you actually don't know. You have no idea how many people that work in the same company with you have disability accommodations. It's literally not your business, and legally, you have no right to know. So you couldn't possibly know this unless everybody was sharing that kind of personal information everywhere. It's possible that 100% of the people there had disability accommodations, and if half of them get fired, then half of them, all the people fired would have disability accommodations. I don't know why that is relevant unless they were legitimately targeting people with accommodations. In that case, that is against the law. But I mean, you got to have more evidence than that. Okay, so Bleeding Cool reached out. They mentioned this. Okay, I got a disclaimer here. I don't know everybody that works in comics. Carl Stewart II and Carl Reed, or David Stewart, excuse me, and Carl Reed. I don't know the guys. This is the first time I've actually looked at their names. But they were asked this question. This is just terrible. It was, some of the people said that there were mostly been women of color that were let go. The response from Reed was, "We're not in a bubble. We have been following this, and this is really the hardest thing for us to see and hear. We can't address it necessarily directly, but we understand that it is a hard time. We didn't part with any employees because of performance or a disagreement." See, they didn't even do it because of performance. They could have thrown darts at a board, perhaps. I don't know. I doubt that. They said it didn't have anything to do with performance, and it didn't have anything to do with discrimination. We didn't part with employees or a disagreement even. This is a tough situation, hard to understand. The narrative, our entire mission is to focus on new perspectives, different voices, and expanding what comics are and who reads them. Not only are we personally comic creators, but we're African American comic creators. No kidding. Here we go. David Stewart, Carl Reed. These are the two guys that are being accused of being racist. This is truly insane. Knowing a little bit more information into it, it does seem quite ridiculous. So they kind of said basically that they already have a really diverse company, and so it's true that because they hired so diversely, it's always going to be firing in a diverse way too. That actually makes sense. How does that not make sense? It absolutely does. Anyway, so I'll be interested to see how this unfolds. If there's actually any legitimate misdeeds that are found out or spilled through any of this, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear it. I would love to see what the non-compete clause actually says in reality. I have a hard time believing that it says you cannot work for any comic publisher ever. That doesn't make much sense to me. And another thing is all of this infighting. It kind of reminds me of, I got on Twitter. I was on Twitter just a little bit today, mostly just checking DMs. But there seemed to be a lot of fighting on, within Comicsgate. I have no idea. I've not been following it. I have no idea what it's about. Doesn't it, let's just be cool. Let's just be cool to each other. I know it's easier said than done. But there are a lot of exciting things coming up. I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell. That all helps me out quite a bit. And update on Downcast. We are moving ahead, making progress. And I may have actually a couple, 2 or 3 announcements that are all positive with Downcast coming up pretty soon. In the meantime, we're working for it, and it's still open on the in-demand store. You can feel free to back it at any time. It's in the link in the description below. Thank you very much. I will see you next time.